All right, I'm back here with Shea in the Catskills, and we're going to talk about relational hygiene. Relational hygiene.
One
And
of my
Shay,
favorite subjects.
you came up with that. So that is not my term. I heard that from you. So
I also don't think I can claim it as original to me. I should do some research and find out where I got that from, but it's a term that I use all the time.
it's a great term. It's fabulous. So okay, so um I'll just start off for me in a very small way, not a small way, but something short, I think, is for me, relational hygiene is being aware of what is mine and what is someone else's, and what is mine that I'm projecting.
Hmm.
That is a huge thing of my relational hygiene. And in episode 6, that the guest will talk about emotional hygiene. So and about projecting, that a projection happened in a relationship with another mom and their sons. The sons started to be sort of the projection, that their relationship got projected on the sons a bit in an incident. Um, how about you? What for relational hygiene? What comes to your mind?
Well, relational hygiene to me is sort of like when you're cooking, if you clean as you go, like it's different than if you use every pot and pan and utensil and at the end you have this giant pile of dishes to do. So like relational hygiene is like
That's
you
so
think you think that you're letting things go like in an interaction, like you feel something and you're like, it's too complicated, I don't have time, I don't know what this, and you think you're letting it go, and then you
Mhm.
turn around and there's a giant mountain of like relational schmutz that you have to deal with. It's so much harder to deal with if you don't clean as you go. And so
Mm.
I remember a term, micro communication, that I first heard from um, Chris Maxwell Rose and Charlotte Rose, who are the pleasure mechanics, and they have a really amazing podcast. And I first heard the term micro communication from them. And I think it's like in a moment where, especially when we're talking about like our nearest and dearest, you're like having an interaction and you feel something, to just even like cleaning as you go in that moment might just look like, I just noticed like something. Do you feel that? I feel like something is everything. How are we doing? If I am just naming what's happening for me,
Yeah.
that's always a good place to sort of start the micro communication, because it is hard enough to know what is going on with me. I have no idea what's going on with another person. I can
Mhm.
guess, but nobody likes to be guessed at what's going on with them.
Oh my gosh.
um
Yeah.
so I think like, I felt something, I felt uncomfortable. um I felt like I really like wanted you to meet me in that moment and you didn't.
Hmm.
I came to
Hmm.
talk to you about this and it felt worse afterwards, whatever. Um, but cleaning as you go, doing it actually builds intimacy, I think. That good relational hygiene, having these micro communications actually strengthens a good relationship, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm going as long, and you've said this, but I just want to highlight this, as long as, because sometimes I'll think, oh, I think this person was aggressive with me or hostile with me. And I think instead of saying, you were just hostile with me, but just say, oh, wow, that feels hostile. Like, how do we, I mean, I feel like this is for me old school, but like, which is just the I statements and how do you say this is my story? But in the moment, can be hard to do. Do you know?
Totally. So, relational hygiene is a practice. We get better by doing it. And practice means that we're going to mess it up. And, relationship is connect, rupture, repair, connect, rupture, repair. So, this idea that good relational hygiene means that we never have conflict is both a setup
Mm.
and it's not realistic. And it's going to keep us actually from being able to be authentic. Um, And it's actually repairing mistakes and miscommunications. That's, I think, such an intimacy builder,
Mhm.
and really worth doing
Yeah.
with people that we feel like we want to invest relational resources with. That's a whole other,
Oh my gosh.
it's like, this is not work that I do with everybody, you know,
Right, right,
because it takes
right,
energy.
right,
Yeah.
right. Ah, well, I think in order to have good relational hygiene, you have to be seen. And I'll say that I think in the past, and I'm not going to say it's past, it's something I have to continually work on, that there is a part of me that doesn't want certain sections of myself seen or action, rooms in myself to be seen. And so, which is why I think I chose some of the friends I'm no longer friends with, because they would take up more space in the friendship that I didn't, so I could hide. I could hide. And I'm like, the day is done hiding, Cheryl. The day is done.
Oh my God, it's so relatable. Yeah.
So, so it is because I go, well, if they know how sensitive I am, they're gonna think I'm ridiculous, and that if they think I'm ridiculous, then they're gonna leave, and maybe they will, and if they do, then I mean it hurts, but that is there's something there's a love. I think that's a step towards self love. I'm becoming friends with yourself, going, this is who I am, and not that you're blaming, but you're saying that yeah, this, ooh, I don't like this. So please, let's not do this.
Well, I think as we evolve, I mean, you know, longing to be seen and like how excruciating it is to be seen, it's sort of like
Oh my God.
kicking away the thing that we want the most is so relatable. And, you know, in my relationship history, friendship and otherwise, I can see that in the past, I chose relationships that replicated my most painful
Mm,
relational dynamics. And
mm,
I don't do that anymore.
mm, mm.
But I think what you're saying about um, letting ourselves be seen is both incredibly potent and healing and like excruciating. you know
It really is. It really it brings up a lot of fear, a lot of fear, and
Totally.
shame, a lot of fear and shame. Um, and then how do I get comfortable being uncomfortable with that? So.
A life's work.
Oh my gosh, yes. And maybe more lives. Maybe more lives. Maybe more.
Definitely.
I mean, we're just scratching the surface, but I don't hear about relational hygiene that often in my world. And so I just think it's a great way to just sort of like open things up to that. Is there any, I would say Brené Brown sort of helps me with relational hygiene with self, and others. Is there anyone who comes to your mind that you feel
Wow. I
it's
mean, I
easy?
think when I think about relationships and relational hygiene, I think about a lot of visionary Black feminist
Mm,
thinkers like Adrienne Maree Brown and Alexis Pauline Gumbs, and you know um, movements for transformative justice, where you know um, we don't throw each other away, but we actually really do the work to, even if we're not going to stay in a sort of active friendship, that there's relational hygiene to closing relationships too. um, so I think it's just sort of the basic idea, like nothing goes anywhere. We
mm,
don't, throwing something away, there's no away. So it's
that's
like,
it.
how do we actually want to live with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's huge and that's inspiring. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you.